So in terms of application of skill, just learning some basics, HTML, CSS, that's going to put you in a real good step for understanding how to design something.
My name is Peter Sumpton, and you're listening to the Marketing Study Lab podcast, the podcast that gives you actionable marketing knowledge, getting you and your marketing in the best possible shape to be the driving force of your business for long-term success. From strategy and tactics to practical application, we've got it all covered. If you'd like to support the show, it'd be fantastic if you could leave a 5-star Apple Podcast review or get in touch, especially if you have a burning marketing question. I'd love to chat it through with you. Email me, peter@marketingstudylab.co.uk, or you can find me on LinkedIn. There's a link in the show notes if you can't be bothered searching on LinkedIn. So what are we going to learn, and who's on Marketing Study Lab today? How do you develop future marketers? It's something that always fascinates me and I have a massive passion for. And our guest this week brings two huge marketing worlds together, but also concentrates on this development. The two worlds, the creative and the digital. Dan Hardaker is the head of digital design at Proctor Stevenson, a full-service B2B marketing agency working across creative, strategy and technology. What makes this such an intriguing chat is that Proctor Stevenson have a long history with developing the next generation of design talent, which is just ingrained into the P&S culture. Dan is perfectly placed to shed some light on how to develop as a marketer and if qualifications or practical application is more important. And a bit of a spoiler alert here, give you a second if you want to switch off or fast forward 15 seconds. It's a bit of both. You need a bit of both. You need qualifications for that grounding. You need practical application to know how to apply it in the real world. But you should know that by now if you listen to this in any way, shape or form. But coming from a full-service, tech-based company, I wanted to know, Dan, when will the robots take over?
I think they already have, actually. I think with things like technology, of artificial intelligence, that kind of thing, I think that we're already there. We're already being spoken to, we're talking to and engaging with robots anyway. So, yeah, I think we're there.
Yeah, it's a bit scary because the majority of the time you almost have to question, is this a robot? And does it really matter as long as I'm getting the right answers and solving the right problems?
We were actually talking about chatbots the other day, and are they useful when they're a robot, or will you prefer to engage with a human? And yeah, it's one of those really weird scenarios of you're not quite too sure you're talking to online these days.
Absolutely. So let's get into more. Well, that is serious, but let's get more into your story and a bit more about you and what's brought you to this stage of your career as head of digital design at Proctor Stevenson.
Okay. Well, I have always been keen on art and design since, I was at school. And I think as I saw opportunities grow, as I was developing through college and then into university, there was a massive shift in terms of digital, whether things that was looking at things online or the way video was starting to become more popular. And I started to see opportunities from where I was learning graphic design in terms of interpreting those online. So taking typographic skills and getting that information displaying and looking great online. And the course I decided to do after my foundation course was a graphic communication course. So it was half graphic design and half digital. And that was kind of the first course I saw that was starting to amalgamate the two together. By the time I'd completed that course, the internet and the software and the capabilities that you could get information online was massive. And I was lucky enough to get a job straight after university, and I started working with a design agency who were working at the time with a lot of digital media. Flash was the key thing at the time. It was getting animation on the screen, and bandwidth were able to get animation working really smoothly. And we started doing a lot of work with that. And then we started to look at the way technology would work in terms of letting a user update the information they were seeing online. And that's what we know as kind of CMS today. I became so excited by this and started learning how to code and understanding really the technology behind these kinds of things. And there was a point in my career where I wasn't too sure whether to go towards the tech side of things or the design side of things. And eventually, my heart was with design. But at that stage in my career, I thought how nice it would be to keep that momentum moving forward with technology and development. And as we moved on through the years, I started working with some big brand names like Hilton Hotels, and we were designing websites for those guys. And an opportunity came up with Proctor Stevenson. I decided to come have the interview with the team here, and I just saw that there was lots of opportunity here to grow and develop. So I came in as an initial digital designer. There was a design team already here, but I was kind of the initial digital design person to work within the company. And over the last 7 years, that's just evolved and developed. We've won huge contracts with people all over the world. And as that has kind of evolved and changed my career and what I'm trying to evolve and get moving forward within P&S is to grow the team. And that's just eventually moved me into the head of digital design role. But yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. And it's been great to get and learn all of that really as kind of the technology shift has happened way back 15 years ago.
That sounds really exciting, and you touched upon where you are now, and you called them P&S. Is it okay if I call them that, or is it some? Yeah. just making sure people can be a bit funny about names sometimes, but just focusing more on P&S for one question. Can you explain what P&S actually do?
Yeah, of course. So it was set up with Roger back in 1979, so before I was around. And initially, they began as a brand and design agency. And over the 40-odd years that they've been running, same in kind of my career, technology's moved on, and we have started covering more bases, such as kind of strategic thinking, technology. And that has just enabled us to great contacts all around the world. So now we are a enterprise scale website and global systems configurator. So we do lots of work in terms of the technology behind websites, from DevOps right the way through to branding with film and animation. Our main focus is around B2B, but our opportunities lie within the technology arena now and displaying that in the best and most beautiful way we can.
So which part of that do you prefer? What's your go-to, or what's your passionate part, or is it just everything?
A bit of everything, to be honest. My main passion is design. It's making sure that people can use that technology to the best advantage they can. So making sure that, whether that's a young person logging online or an older person or someone with a disability can log on online and get the best experience they can. If they can't, and if we've got someone that is struggling, then we haven't done our job properly. So for me, it's about making sure everybody has the best experience they can when engaging with online tools and experiences.
I love that ethos and purely customer focus. That's fantastic. I've noticed that P&S have a long history in engaging with students. Where does this come from?
Well, initially it's come from Roger. He has a massive passion for design. And also future generations as well. For him, it started way back when. And when you come in to Proctor Stevenson, you start working here, you become kind of infected by that bug of helping others and helping people in student life or schools or learning in general. You just want to be a part of that. Since I've arrived, I've been involved in multiple things, whether that's portfolio reviews, and we do that down at Bath Spa University, to having design buddies. I've been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years, and Roger has been doing it for many more years, where we take a third-year university student, we mentor them, we help them, we don't do any work for them, but we give them direction and show them where the challenges lie within design. And then what we have just started last year was starting what we call the Southwest Design and Digital Awards. So again, engaging with students in their third year degree, setting a competition, letting them apply, and giving them that creative freedom to be able to show us what they can do and what it is they've learned over those 3 years at university. So it's very much come from Roger, but it's now very much in our DNA to keep offering that to students, whether that's through design or development as well.
I think there's massive learnings for anybody listening that's either looking to get into digital and design or even runs their own business, in the fact that I think you've just spoken there for 5 minutes and not mentioned anything to do with sales or getting customers through the door or anything. It's purely about the next generation of talent and developing their skills and being seen as a mentor, if you like, based organization, which is just amazing. Fantastic work.
Great, thanks.
But just moving on from that, so in your experience, because like I just said, you assist in developing or providing awards for students to get their hands dirty in real life scenarios and all that kind of stuff. But where are other organisations going wrong when it comes to assisting this new talent, and what should they actually be doing to help nurture it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think one of the main challenges is making sure creativity stays a part of those individuals coming in. New talent isn't kind of pushed back by time, budget, money, client pressures, those kinds of things. It's about making sure that that person that's coming into the organisation keeps that creative freedom and allow them to really shine and push themselves by making sure that that creativity stays at the core of what they do, not to be bogged down by the delivering at certain times and that kind of thing. So for me, it's a time thing. It's putting the pressure on, but obviously not so much that creativity is kind of stalled. Working with others, when you're working with others, or when you're at university, you're quite often not working with others. You may talk to others about a project they're working on, but collaboratively working together is a completely different thing. And I think working with others is something that is really important in terms of assisting new talent with that. Client management, showing them the way, making sure that they understand what a client's asking for, and listening, really.
Yeah, that listening thing is always key. I don't think we do enough of that as human beings in general.
Yeah, that's right.
So you work with huge global organizations, but also the smaller companies. And, without a doubt, they have different sets of culture, different sets of ways of working. Are they tackling new starters, developing new talent in the same way? And what would you advise people that are looking to get into this kind of industry? What should they be looking in a company when searching for a job?
Yeah. Okay. I think one of the big things is looking at learning and development opportunities. That's probably the biggest thing you will find. As you get further on through your career, that time of being able to learn and develop becomes less. People rely more on you to be able to make decisions. So I think moving into an organisation and seeing that there are opportunities to learn and grow is massively important. I think good company culture is a massive thing as well. So when you're walking into a building, is everybody happy, smiley? It's not always about the work and making sure that you're doing everything all the time. It's about enjoying your time where you are. If the environment feels stale and stagnant, it's not a place where you want to be. If you're walking in and it's light and bright and people are enjoying themselves, it really helps. So good company culture, I think, helps. There's the obvious things around benefits and perks for employees, but they're offered against smaller companies compared to large companies. They differ massively. But I think the other thing as well is a good work-life balance. Part of something that's been introduced here over in the last 6 months is flexible working, and people being able to come into the office and being given that control of understanding what their job is and when they need to be in. We can come in at 8, you can leave at 4:30. You can come in at 10, you leave at 6:30. We're flexible around that. There's a core set of hours, and I think those kinds of things, having a work-life balance are really important. If you get things right at home, you come in to work much happier. And if you're doing things right at work, you go home much happier as well. So good work-life balance is very important as well.
And it's interesting you looked at it like that from almost the flip side, in terms of the home side being a great experience for somebody, so that when they come into work, they enjoy coming into work and going home. And it's that fine work-life balance, like you say, it's that fine balance. But if you're not happy at home, I don't think you're going to be as happy in the workplace either.
That's exactly right, and you have to. I think you have to be aware of that. And if you aren't aware of those things, or the employer isn't aware of those things, then I think the two really then don't connect, and then you'll find yourself in a place that you won't be as happy.
So we've spoken a fair bit about on-the-job activities. Do you think there's still a place for marketing qualifications, or is it just all practical applications that is future-proofing our workforce?
So there are pros and cons to both of these. I'm not going to be able to give you a straight answer on them. I think I'm going to start with some of the pros. I think with a degree, it's about getting a job, it's going for a career. And I think for university, for me, was about actually having time personally to grow intellectually, socially. It gave me that independence that I needed at that time in my life to be able to go, okay, I'm away from home. I'm not at a company where I'm being told what to do. I'm actually here to learn under my own steam and my own control. So I think in terms of going out and getting a qualification, you can learn so much from that. I think organisations are still writing job applications where they're asking for a degree for a job. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'll cover that in terms of cons in a minute. But again, a pro, I would say, is there's a bigger job market now than there was a decade ago. And I think if you came out of university in 2008 when the crash was happening and you had a degree, it was very hard for you to get a job. I think now there's a lot more opportunity. So if you have been and you've got that degree, you're coming into maybe an environment or a job that could be there for you, whereas 10 years ago, not so much. But then if you kind of flip it over on the other head, the application of, being able to have those practical skills. I think someone who has gone to work for 3 years over going to university has now gained that valuable resource of working in an environment with other people, an environment where they're under time pressure. They know exactly how a business works, how it runs. So, if you are looking then for that next step, that next job, you've got those skills, you're ready to go. I'm not sure around degrees at the moment, and we may touch on this later on, but whether the practical skills in terms of what you gain now are far more valuable than what you would get through a qualification. The speed in which you are, something simple, and I'm going to use an analogy here, is you come out of university, you kind of understand how to do a brand. Practical skills, if you came into an environment and I said, put a cut and path around something, I know the person that's done something for 3 years is going to do a better job than someone that's come out of university. You might not even know what a cut and path is. Mm-hmm. And the practical skills are so valuable for getting the time done, get the job done in a timely manner, and being able to deliver it really accurately and perfectly. So, yeah, it's a catch-22, and I can't give you a straight answer on that, I'm afraid.
I don't think there is a straight answer, and I'm in complete agreement with everything you've said there. It's looking at what you want out of life, basically, and if a degree in getting those life skills on your own is important, then it could be the way to go. But the one thing that I fundamentally regret is going to university and not having a gap year, because quite honestly, I did not know that was available to me. And coming out of university, just thinking, well, I've got a degree now, so people snap me up. It's like universities and education do not get you ready for the fact that people want more from you than just a degree.
That's right, absolutely.
Just sticking with new graduates then, What do you find that most new graduates struggle with when first joining you? And I might have touched upon something there in my previous statement, but how do they negate these types of struggles they might find?
I think pace. It changes massively. When you come into a working environment, not only are you seeing people busy, you are tasked with a job, with a timescale to deliver it. When you've given a project at university, that project you were given in a work environment will be a fifth of the time to deliver that in a working environment. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing people worry about. And then as soon as that fear sets in of, oh, I've got to deliver this in 2 hours rather than 2 days, that's when everything breaks down. And you can just start to see the panic in some people's faces. Oh, I don't think I can do this anymore. And then it starts to put real doubt on you as an individual. Can I do this as a job? Absolutely, of course you can do it as a job. That fear factor of time and being able to deliver it really can affect a lot of people. I think the best way to kind of get ready and overcome that is work experience. And, it sometimes doesn't even have to be design work experience or the work experience in terms of what you're doing. If you're at university and you have time and you can get a second job or something like that and learn around business values, time management, it can set you in a real good step for then moving into your career and understanding what is being asked of you and how to deal with that. I think that is how I would try and overcome that if I was to look back on it.
I'd never thought of that in terms of time-based. And you bang right, at university you do get a set period of time to do something, and that includes your research and all that kind of things. And it's usually a longer set time period, whereas at work it is that pace, like you said. I love that word, pace, and it's that immediacy. And again, universities might be culpable of not getting people prepared for that speed, because if you look at education, then all we're ever taught is you do this to this level on your own. And then you come out of university or school or college, and then it's you do this quicker with everybody else. You're like, what? Yeah. I haven't been taught this.
Yeah, and it's a panic, and you can't. I don't know if you can teach that, and that's why I was mentioning in terms of looking at opportunities to work and understand how businesses run, whether that's a part-time job or anything, can really get you well informed for work in the future.
Speaking of future then, what skills do you think graduates should be looking to gain in the future within the digital world?
Coding. I think there is, when you kind of pair digital and design together, you start to think around video and you start to think about how things move and that kind of thing. And there is a lot more behind how all of those things happen, which is the code side of things. So for me, as a digital designer, when we are looking for applicants and when we are looking at people and the way that they work, if you don't understand how something is built, it's very difficult to design for it. So in terms of application of skill, just learning some basics, HTML, CSS, that's going to put you in a real good step for understanding how to design something. You can design the most beautiful thing in the world, but when you go take that to a front-end developer, they're going to pick it apart in terms of asking you, how does this work? How does that work? How would you like this to? When you have a basic understanding, you can be the person that then delivers that and tells them exactly how you want things to work. And it's a yes and no scenario as opposed to being so much question and then having to go back and do what you may have started thinking.
I always link the marketing profession, weirdly enough, to plumbing, and almost you're not going to ask a plumber to do something that you fully understand that they know what they're actually doing and they're fully skilled in that.
Right, yeah.
And similarly within marketing, it's a case of you can know the design element. Like you say, you take it to somebody and they cannot do that. So if you've got that basic understanding, then it's just like plumbing a sink or whatever it might be in a plumber's world. They need that back end understanding of how the pipes and systems work to actually get your water flowing through taps.
Yeah, that's it. And the thing, and it passes along the chain within the company. So with us being a full service agency, from the moment a client will walk in through the door and they go through a complete project, you have to be aware of the job before you and the job after you to make sure that seamlessness happens. Because if you start to work in isolation thinking you can deliver something on your own, that's when it breaks down and it doesn't work. So yeah, a good understanding of how to do something is always going to set you in a good step.
That sounds like a dark world. Somebody coming in and thinking that you can solve all their problems, from coding, from design to user experience. All that. Whoa, that's a chilling thought, really. Okay, are you ready for some quickfire questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Name the resource you couldn't live without.
Medium at the moment. I have it set as my desktop, and it's where I go to read about anything.
What was the last thing you Googled?
This morning would have been how to fix an email. Email clients behave really randomly, and we have to do fixes all the time. So probably find some code to fix that.
Cool. What is your most used app at the moment?
I think Seesaw. My daughter has just started school, and we get photographs sent to us by the school and things like that. So actually, it's not called. It's their education app.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. At least they're embracing it.
Yeah, they are, which is great.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah, I can imagine. What would be your one tip for people who are studying?
I think listen and read. It's very easy to say that, but listening rather than talking can do so much more. Reading is obviously a powerful source, but go talk to people and listen to what they have to say.
Okay, speaking of which, if you could tell your 10-year-old self one thing, what would it be?
I've written something down that I kind of use all the time, and that's kind of living in the now. I think if you think about the future all the time and you don't live in the now, it's very hard to go on a journey of what it is you want to discover. So I would go back and say, think about what you're doing right now. It will set you in good stead for the future.
Dan, final question. If people want to find out more about Proctor and Stevenson and what you do, or get in touch with you, where should they go?
They can go to our website, which is proctors.co.uk. And we've got our social channels on there, which, again, you can follow us via Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Dan, finally, thank you so much for coming on. Absolute pleasure talking to you about all things digital and design and qualifications and developing new skills and talent. It's been a pleasure.
Great, thank you, Peter.
Thank you once again, Dan, for joining us. An absolute pleasure. And just a few takeaways from that really interesting chat with Dan. The first one is when you're actually looking for a job, whether that's your first one or indeed a step up, Dan believes that you're better to find a company that provides mentorship as well as learning and development opportunities. If you find one that offers this, then you will also get the opportunity one day to be a mentor yourself. And that is just an amazing feeling. I'm talking from experience here because that's what I do. Dan also believes that there are pros and cons to getting a marketing qualification, and this is true. The pros, or some of the pros, is that it can be a springboard to a career, and it provides the grounding and foundations you need. But a con is that there is a valuable resource in starting work and learning those practical skills, rather than the theory behind it. The correct answer? You do both. You need both. You can't have one without the other, in my opinion. Study and get a job that fits in with your studies, or get a job and study around this. Or do one after the other. It's completely up to you, however you feel comfortable. But please, please, please don't do one without the other. And finally, one key word for those that are yet to experience the working environment: pace. Be prepared for the speed at which things need to be delivered to massively, rapidly change. Usually yesterday or in an hour is fine, but embrace the fear that comes with any role and enjoy the process of learning and developing until you, yourself, become the teacher. Thank you so much for joining us today on Marketing Study Lab. It really means the world that you're listening to this out there. And hopefully I've provided you some value. If you're looking to know more about what Marketing Study Lab does and is about, go to marketingstudylab.co.uk or get in touch with me personally, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or feel free to email me at peter@marketingstudylab.co.uk. Happy marketing.